Oh, Tashi Dele, hello everyone. How are you? Okay, welcome back to the Lojong session. We start with a few moments of settling ourselves in the present moment. So do short breathing meditation. Yeah. So for a few moments, refresh our refuge practice, and on the basis of refuge, generate artistic intention by dedicating rest of our existence, in particularly this very whole life, this very year, this very month, this very week, and this very today, and this very moment of this Lojong session to be complete cause for numberless sentient beings, the comfort in the ordinary world, up to the everlasting happiness of liberation and full enlightenment. So try to express that as sincere as possible, as genuine as possible. Try to convince oneself that I really mean it. And if you do so, the benefit that you're going to offer to rest of the numberless sentient beings is definitely achievable. To have that confident, proving yourself the works of our gurus, works of the past, present, and future Buddhas. Those are the evidence that as long as we dedicate our life in altruism, we're able to bring immense of benefit, to numberless sentient beings, until to the last being, or who get freedom from oceans of samsara and its causes. Yeah, so that is the meaning of our life. That is the ultimate purpose of spirituality, ultimate purpose of why we pursue Dharma. And that should be the reason the Dharma is so attractive to us. That is the reason that one's life becomes so useful, so beneficial. not only few, but so many others. And that is really fulfilling. And that is the way how bring happiness in our life. And that is the best way how we take good care of ourselves. Is the best way. If we truly love ourselves, then we dedicate our life for the well-being of others. If we truly wish to experience happiness, we wholeheartedly dedicate our life for the benefit of others' well-beings. If we truly wish to be free from oceans of influence of karma and delusions and samsaric sufferings, then dedicate our life for the well-being of others. If we truly admire our gurus and aspire to actualize their qualities, then dedicate our life for the benefit of others. If we truly inspired and admired by the Bodhisattvas like Shantideva, Adisha, etc., and Kadamba great masters, then we dedicate our life wholeheartedly for the well-being of other sentient beings. If we truly inspired by Guru Shakyamuni Buddha and all the past Buddhas like Chenrezig, Manjushri, Maitreya, Tara, then we should dedicate entirety of our life for the benefit of numberless sentient beings' well-being. So, working for the well-being of numberless sentient beings is the way to create abundance and complete causes from our own temporary happiness up to the ultimate happiness of liberation for ourselves, and that which is so beneficial for the rest of the numberless sentient beings. Yeah. So give all these reasons and try to, generate as steady as genuinely convince artistic motivation or attitude within our mind. Okay. Zangye Jodang Zoge Jonala Janju Bado Dane Jazonje Dagi Jinzo Gebe Tonamge Dola Penje Sangye Lumarai Sangye Jodang Zoge Jonala Janju Bado Dane Jazonje Dagi Jinzo Gebe Tonamge Dola Penje Sangye Lumarai Sangye Jodang Zoge Jonala Janju Bado Dane Jazonje Dagi Jinzo Gebe Tonamge Dola Penje Sangye Lumarai Kangi doze ne zo ne dawa dam je pambe je dambe je ne den je ba go dam de la cha se dong ni ni je song do ju be la ma ze je se jo gang je den de ge cha na be mo den zen ja zo la so wa de zo da ju jin ye Semje damje dewa dan deve judan dembra juje semje damje dunga dan dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga mebe dewa dan mi dawa juje semje damje nire chadani dan dave tanyola nebra juroji semje damje dewa dan deve judan dembra juje semje damje dunga dan dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga mebe dewa dan mi dawa juje Semje damje nire jada ni danda ve danyola nebra juroji. Semje damje dewa dan deve judan dembra juji. Semje damje dunga dan dunga je judan rawa juji. Semje damje dunga mebe dewa dan mi rawa juji. Semje damje nire jada ni danda ve danyola nebra juroji. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we are still studying Will of Sharp Weapon by Dhammaraksita. And we have covered up to verse 48. If you are using same text, this one like this, then we are on page 140. Yeah, so from verse 49 onward, quite a number of verses, very much up to very much up to verse 91. Straightforward application of direct antidote to the object of negation, which is self-grasping, ego-centered, ignorant, or self-grasping, ego-centered mind, which is the root cause of all the miseries, all the sufferings, all the problems, all the calamities are the result of the false ideas of the I, the false idea of the ego-centered mind, the result of the action that committed by the mind of the ego-centered, ignorant. Whatever troubles that we witness in the universe, in relation to politics, in relation to natural disaster, in relation to our own, physical health, mental health, all the challenges that we face with people whom we know, and those others to whom we don't know. All these are solely result of the action that committed by the self-centered ego or grasping mind. And that is the object of the negation. Until we don't overcome that, suffering doesn't end, problem doesn't end. Even if we happen to be born in a very developed country, like an example, like in Australia, I think one of highly developed country, infinite space, absolute freedom. Yes, but then we are not void of problems. That we all know. We are not void of problems, political problems, economical problems, health problems, mental health problems, natural disasters, even we live in one of the most developed city, and most advanced science, unable to solve all these problems. I'm just giving example as Australia, but then there are so many other developed countries absolute peak advance in the science. Hmm? The natural disaster is getting more severe than ever before, even though the science is more advanced than ever before, but unable to change, unable to protect, natural calamities. Then discovery of new diseases, new sicknesses, even how advanced the medical science is there. And how smart, how powerful, politicians, that they get opportunity to lead the people, lead the country, lead the government. But in today's world, instead of solving problem, even create more problems. We witness that. We are witnessing that, isn't it? So you see, so the advancing of science, advancing of material achievements, or the intellectual smartness, that is not the solution. That is not the solution to overcome samsara. That is not the solution to overcome suffering. That's not the solution to overcome adversities. And majority of beings don't realize that. You see, most of the world leaders don't realize that. Most of the leading science don't realize that. People who create medicine, people who create businesses, they don't realize that. They don't realize that, isn't it? Because of not realizing and keep, apprehending one-sided solution, or in another way, it's very much wrong solution. You see, the world problem is getting more and more severe. So that is so obvious. It's not expressing this from the lens of Dharma. It's so obvious. Something is missing, isn't it? So obvious, something is missing. You see? And that is the missing of figuring the root cause of all the problem, which is self-grasping, ego-centered, ignorant. The detecting of that root cause is missing. Oneself unable to detect the problem, then no way one can develop the antidote for that, isn't it? And therefore, majority of the beings are lacking of the right wisdom, correct wisdom of emptiness, correct wisdom of dependent arising. You see, so because of that, samsara in general has been ever same kind of severe of suffering, of pervasive suffering, but the suffering of change and suffering of pain is far more greater than the samsara ever exists before. You see, so therefore, what we are doing, this conversation, is not a simple thing. Not a simple thing. Not just to kind of give a temporary lifeline, or not just to give some basic idea to how to be happy. It is in fact is the ultimate point to be discussed. You see, so therefore, it is a big subject. It is a most profound subject, most extensive subject, and therefore, majority of people don't realize that, don't even have an idea to discuss about it. So you see, therefore, the problem continues. You see, even governing our own individual life, just simply governing our own status of mind, as long as we don't recognize the root cause, as long as we don't develop the correct antidote, the emotional ups and downs, emotional turmoil will continue and will get severe and severe. You see. So just now giving the example of overall world leaders, ourselves is the one who lead our own life, and we only aspire for happiness. We do not aspire even for one single moment of suffering. That's our objective. That's what we want. You see. So someone who met Dharma, so we cannot behave like how ordinary world leaders, they try to solve the problem of the world. We have to go beyond that. You see, with full respect of all the convenient, conducive conditions that science has developed and that world have developed, and on top of that, having this inner wisdom to utilize all the facilities in the most meaningful way, and in making sure that nothing become cause of suffering, nothing become cause of negativity. Rather, everything able to take onto a path to happiness. More than that, path to altruistic happiness, which is so beneficial for oneself and so beneficial for the rest of the numberless sentient beings' well-being. Up to the ultimate liberation, ultimate happiness, lasting happiness. You see, so so something that we need to think very seriously, and we try our best to share this what you call the topic to be discussed. To bring up this topic, among others, so that exactly like what Buddha have said, by him giving the tool of Dharma, then through application of Dharma within ourselves, we ourselves is the one who is our own liberator. You see, and that way, how Buddha have benefited us, similar way we can able to benefit others who have not met Dharma. I believe that this is, I think, very serious responsibility. So like that. Yeah. So so now from this verse 49 onward, the ego-centered grasping will express into many different phases. So whatever kind of phases that it shows up, the antidote is the one antidote. The ultimate antidote is the wisdom realizing emptiness. Emptiness is the antidote. So, so we will learn, this delusion, this ignorance will appear in, manifest in a different kind of phases. Then, when you detect that, then, right there, you apply the direct antidote to eliminate that. So, of course, for today, we learn through this, but actually this is to be taken as a meditational guide, as a homework. We meditate, and accordingly, you see, we an example, we read the verse, then we understand that particular, manifestations of the ego-centered mind. Then, at the end of the verse, then we get into the meditation on emptiness. So either you can do analytical meditation on emptiness, or either you can do the absorption meditation on emptiness, depending on how much capability that you have in relation to the practice of emptiness. So you can apply accordingly. And this practice of purification can be applied using the four opponent power. You see, so you detect the negation, then you engage in the antidote of four opponent power. So when you reach to the third opponent power, and as the power of antidote, you utilize the emptiness wisdom to meditate, and that way, not only purify the effect of those karmic consequences, but you also able to purify or eradicate the root cause from its base, from its root. So that way we can able to, progress onto the path. That way we can able to be liberated. So this is a meditational guide. And we are doing this by this stage because in earlier, many earlier, verses we have discussed the varieties of play of the karma, and all the consequences. We already learned how severe it is. Right this very now, because of we are not like getting focused to verse by verse. You may not remember what the detail that what we have discussed. But if you start to take on to homework, meditational practice, then those discussions that we have done in the past, those notes that you have taken, or at least just referring to the verses one by one, that it is a most how to say is one of the most powerful way to see the clarity of the karma and its effect. You see, which is so hard. Which in fact, for ordinary mind, it is so hard for us to apprehend about karma. In particularly those Tara subtle karmas, we have no capability to apprehend how it works. But at least roughly, through the teaching, that we can able to see very clearly how the karma works. You see, so from there we are already convinced the play of karma is very nasty. The consequences are very severe. The severe in the sense that not only suffer, not only experiencing suffering, the consequences, but simultaneously you accumulate, greater negative karma to suffer even more intense in the later time, and that makes our continuum in samsara endlessly like that. You see. So this is the conclusion that we need to understand. We need to get it. Then now you see the urgency that I must purify right now. I cannot delay. I have to purify it. And even though there are so many antidotes, but here we want to use the most forceful antidote. As forceful as possible. You see. So when we talk about the antidote, you see, from the general dharma, or from the common path based on the sutric dharma, then emptiness is the antidote. Of course, all different aspects of dharma practices, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, all are antidote. All the dharma practices are antidote to negativities, antidote to the karma. But when it comes to emptiness is the direct antidote. The rest of the dharma virtues are it is antidote, but not as forceful. Not directly open on to the root of the problem. You see, so therefore emptiness is the root cause. When we define the difference between the direct antidote and general antidote, if you apply direct antidote, it has the benefit of purifying faster and more effectively. If you apply general antidote, yes, it does affect, but then it has a slow effect. So therefore, overall, when we pronounce one word, from the general dharma or the common path or from the basis of the sutric path, what is the antidote to the root cause of all the problem? Then that is the emptiness wisdom. The wisdom that realizing lack of inherent existence. the wisdom of understanding, or wisdom of understanding, or wisdom realizing the interdependent existent. That is the one. So now, if you refer to the more advanced, more from the uncommon path, more how to say, secret, more profound in the application of technique and the practices, and that is from the tantric practice. So from the tantric practice, all the different yogas of the tantra, including generation practice and completion practice, everything, starting from guru yoga practice all the way up to the result and completion practice, are all antidote to the root cause of all the problems, the self-grasping ignorant. But then when that sum into specific practice of antidote, then the 4 activities of the deity, the antidote through applications of the practice of pacifying actions of the deity, applications of increasing activities of the deity, antidote of controlling activities of the deity, antidote of wrathfulness activities of the deity. You see, so then among all the deities, the Yamantaka is regarded the one of the most secret and most forceful. Like there is no greater force than that. There's no greater wrathful than that, which is the Yamantaka. And the Yamantaka is simply the wrathful manifestations of the emptiness wisdom. You see, so Yamantaka, that which comes in the form of deity, is the manifestations of emptiness wisdom. All the practices of Yamantaka is also the manifestations of the emptiness wisdom. So therefore, the Yama is the, conventionally the Yama regarded one of the most severe, harm that we are able to go through. The Yama, the Lord of the Death. In the conventional cycle of existence, facing Yama is the most drastic, most severe experiences of the life. And we know throughout the entire, cycle of life, comparing to the birth, comparing to the aging, even comparing to the sickness, but death is the most severe, isn't it? Death is the most miserable, and death is the most scary part, isn't it? So, therefore, you see, this Lord of Death, or the Yama, is the conventional aspect of the conventional manifestation or conventional aspect of the ignorant, self-centered grasping. Self-centered grasping ignorant. You see, so the meaning is self-centered grasping ignorant. Then the illustration in the conventional understanding is Lord of Death, or the Yama. So now the Taka, Yamantaka. So Taka is referring to the emptiness, and that emptiness wisdom, that emptiness wisdom that which directly open on to the this self-grasping ignorant. Similarly, that emptiness wisdom that manifests into the Yamantaka image, the wrathful, wrathful Yamantaka deity, is the direct antidote to the Lord of the Death, Lord of Death, like that. So, so now, you see, in order to, pacify this very severe negation, we as a beginner, as an ordinary practitioner, even we may be equipping with the wisdom realizing emptiness, but there's a possibility of encountering, for obstacles, obstacles from, like obstacles like emotional disturbances, the obstacles of death, obstacle to our health, human and non-human, including like spirit, etc. Because the obstacle or the negation is so severe, is so advanced and so severe that the practitioner, after knowing exactly what the negation is, and when we start to apply the practice, the antidote, it is not easy. Not easy. Even we may have realization of emptiness. Even we may understand the emptiness. Even we may engage in the meditation on emptiness. Application of four open power. But that practice, that practice may encounter, difficulty in the completion, difficulty in the success by this different force of obstacles. So therefore, now the point, therefore, we need to invoke Yamantaka. We need to invoke the most forceful deity, that which is the antidote to both the human and the non-human, including the demons and spirits. Entirety of the obstacle, can be directly, eliminated. Directly eliminate just even the appearance of the Yamantaka, just simply having the what do you call the mandala of the protection, mandala of protection, the protection will mandala of the Yamantaka, brings the benefit the practitioner, even as a beginner, the practitioner to actualize successful practice in application of antidote to eliminate the self-grasping, and as well as all the overwhelming obstacles. So due to that reason, the verse 29 is a verse that where you invoke Yamantaka. So now those who have Yamantaka initiation, then this practice can take in a great higher level. This meditation of purification can take amazingly higher level, especially those who have initiation of Yamantaka, plus you have done the commitment retreat, including the conclusion fire puja. Then you also know how to conduct the Yamantaka self-initiation. Then through the process of Yamantaka self-initiation, or at least by based on the Yamantaka sadhana, that you can able to bring about effective purification of the harm from the Lord of Death, harm from the internal, external secret obstacles, harm from the influence and force of the self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude. So this practice regarded one of very high practice, very effective practice, very profound practice, and one of the most meaningful practice in a whole, Buddhist practices like that. So now those of you who don't have Yamantaka initiation, then yeah, at least you can visualize Manjushri in the wrathful form, and that which is the Yamantaka form. You visualize Manjushri, since you have not introduced the initiation, since you have not gone through the, more in extent practices in Yamantaka, because of Yamantaka's images has a very, very, wrathful, without familiarizing it, you may get frightened or you may get misunderstanding, etc. So first, you acknowledge, the Manjushri, which is the peaceful aspect of Yamantaka, or the emptiness wisdom appear in the deity in peaceful form, which is the Manjushri. So you acknowledge Manjushri, and that Manjushri manifests into a wrathful aspect, the Yamantaka, in front of you or above your crown. Then taking refuge in Guru Yamantaka, who is the Manjushri, to grant the protection for me to take this practice of purification. So you can use, you can do meditation like that. Then if you have Manjushri's initiation, you can recite Manjushri's mantra. You can engage in Manjushri's meditation and deity practices. If not, then you can meditate on emptiness. You see, when actual application of the antidote from the four opponent power, now the first opponent power where you're taking refuge, the first opponent power of reliance is the Manjushri who appear in the wrathful form, the Yamantaka. Those who have initiation, you yourself can arise into Yamantaka. You can also do the practice in relation to front generation, but if you can do the purification in relation to sub generation, that would be even. I mean, you can combine both, in accordance with like the sadhana has the practice of both front generation, sub generation, and that way the practice is going to be most effective. So for those who don't have, then you see the object of reliance is the Yamantaka. Then you acknowledge the second opponent power. The power of regret here is to acknowledge the root cause of the samsara, root cause of all the adversities is the self-grasping, ignorant, self-centered, grasping, ignorant. So you acknowledge that, you try to understand the characteristic of the self-grasping, ignorant. Try to understand that the false view of the true existing I, or inherent existing I, false view of the inherent existing in all the phenomena, and that on that false view, then based on this aggregate, that you claim this inherent existing me or I, and that ego-centered, demand I as a person to commit immense of negative karma, through the force of the different attendants of that root delusion, which are the sub-delusions, like such as anger, attachment, like a 5 poisonous delusions. 5 poisonous delusions like jealousy, pride, and the ignorance. So you recognize that. Also recognize the consequences of that, which is the negative karma. Then consequences of negative karma, which is the suffering. So you see absolute false, false of this entirety aspect of the self-grasping attitude. Then, third, you apply the antidote. Then you meditate on emptiness. You meditate on emptiness. Those of you deity yoga practitioner, then you try to reinforce the divine pride of self deity. You see, that absolutely arise from the voidness of this impure basis and impure designation, including the impure subject, the mind. You actualize the pure Yamantaka deity, and hold on to that divine pride, and that play as an antidote, and that is the meditation on emptiness. So those who don't have initiation, then you meditate on the general understanding of emptiness, either through analytical meditation. If you want to use analytical meditation of emptiness, then the self-grasping just now you define as a false, then the false the false subject, the mind that which designate the false I, and including the discovery of non-existence of the false I, and the emptiness, including the emptiness wisdom, recognizing in the absolute voidness of inherent. Then you see, so you can analyze, you can meditate through such analysis. Then you can take that wisdom analysis into a actual absorption meditation of remaining in the union of bliss and voidness, in the state of voidness and existent. You see, so you can do that. Or if you cannot manage to meditate, if you don't have capability, then at least you recite the like a Hasutra mantra, or you can recite the definition of emptiness. I like such as like what it says in the Hasutra: form is empty, emptiness is form. Form is not other than emptiness. Emptiness is not other than form. So then you use instead of form you use I. I is emptiness. I is not other than emptiness. So then you can apply to any object that you have a stronger grasping of attachment, grasping of aversion, grasping of ignorance. In order to purify that, then you can use this meditation like that. Okay. So I think I very much explained, roughly the meaning of the verse 49. So if I may read the verse 49, it says like this: Now, O Yamantaka, raise the weapon of karma over his head, spin the wheel 3 times fiercely over his head. Your leg of true truth spread apart, and eyes of method and wisdom wide open. With your fangs of 4 powers bared, strike the enemy. So now, as I mentioned before, you understood how destructive the self-grasping attitude is, how destructive self-cherishing attitude is, how unbelievable, force of karma that we have committed. We learn from the previous verses. And when we think of the consequences, unbelievable, wow. If we knew that such consequences is going to happen, we will surely prevent it. But we didn't know. We are completely overwhelmed by the power and the pretension and the false, the guidance of the self-grasping attitude. So that's why we didn't know. So now we know very clearly. You have ruined every aspect of, my life. For many lifetimes that you have made myself to be reborn in the lower realms, suffer eons of lifetime there. Even I have born as a human being, but subjected to, unbelievable sufferings. We all know, we all went through unbelievable health issues, emotional issues. Every single day is struggling, isn't it? Who made it that? Our karma. Who created the karma? The delusion. Like such as anger, attachment, etc. Where these delusions comes from? The self-grasping ignorance. You see. So now I know you. I know you. So therefore now you can also understand. This now knowing of the past, and now right time for me to invoke the most forceful antidote, which is the Yamantaka. With such a kind of delightfulness, or such a kind of urgency. Oh Yamantaka, raise the weapon of karma over his head. So you request Yamantaka. So you can take time to do tarot visualizations. The appearance of Yamantaka. Then you understand. The Yamantaka's every single aspect of his entirety, including the staffs. When you understand the meaning each one of them, each one of them play a role of the direct antidote to eliminate, different kind of perversities, different kind of delusions. See, so you actualize the Yamantaka. Then now Yamantaka raise the weapon of karma over his head. The weapon here is the antidote, the wisdom antidote. Karma here referring to the action, weapon of action over his head. Whose head? The self-grasping and self-cherishing attitudes. This self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude really got like a physical head? No, it's talking about the concrete grasping. The head is the grasping. The intense, steady, stubborn, grasping notion to the false existence as a true existent. That head, that is so hard. Like among our, within our physical form, our head is regarded quite hard, isn't it? Usually regarded head is hard, but in actual reality, I don't know whether the fears is hard or the head is hard. I don't know. But anyway, the head regarded to be understood is the heart. So here the notion of grasping on the false view is so hard. So that head need to be struck with a weapon of weapon, which is wisdom realizing emptiness. In the action through your meditation. Action of your meditation. Action of meditation on emptiness. Meditation on wisdom realizing the faults of the grasping to the false view, grasping to the false eye. The wisdom realizing fall onto the false view, grasping to the false eye as a true existence, as an inherent existence, like that. So in Tantra, then here the karma, the action, you use, as I mentioned before, the four powers of the deities, either of it. If the obstacle is so heavy, one of the heaviest obstacle, then you use the karma or the tools of the wrathful activities of the deity. Then for the wrathful activities of deity, all the four activities of the deity that you can utilize through the action or through the activities of like fire pujas, through the activities of the many other deity yoga practices. One of very obvious that we are quite familiar with, fire puja. Like there's a 4 fire puja, isn't it? Why we do those fire pujas is to eliminate the obstacle, eliminate eliminate the negation, the obstacles. Then spin the wheel 3 times fiercely over his head. So it's fiercefully. You see, making first you suppress it, and then eliminate it, then complete eradication that never can revive back. So the reason why you do 3 times spinning here is there has to be a gradual process. First you suppress it by bringing the antidote alive. So when you start to meditate, then the wisdom of the emptiness is alive. So antidote alive. When the wisdom of emptiness, the antidote is alive in your mind, then the negation, the self-grasping, self-cherishings are already suppressed. Okay. So now the wisdom is already taken into more established level. Then the negation is prevented. Because the negation is how to say? Yeah, the negation is purified. Like when you on the light, then darkness go away. But even you on the light, when the light is consistent until the daylight comes, then there's no room for the darkness to return back, isn't it? Otherwise, you on the light, you remain on light until the last moment of the darkness. But then one moment that you off the light, then darkness will return back. So therefore, not only purifying it, you need to negate. Not only eradicating, but you have to negate it completely. Which means that the negation already purified from the root. Already wipe away. From the root. Meaning the system is already arise into absolute. Arise into the wisdom. Absolute wisdom. You see, and that wisdom, nothing can be shaken away. Nothing can be get rid of. You see, so when you achieve the path of seeing, direct realization on emptiness, then that emptiness has no limitations. You see, otherwise, even you realize conceptual, emptiness with a conceptual mind, still there's a limitation. So still, there's an influence of the negations. You see, so that's the reason it says spin the wheel 3 times fiercely over his head. Fiercely means very intense practice. You cannot just just try it out meditation. No, you really have to be sure about the wisdom of emptiness, and you really get into meditative equipoise. You really have to get into meditative equipoise. Until then, that at the gross level, that we may not have arising of delusion, but then in the subtle mind, still the tendency still remain there. You see, and that is not that is not fulfill the complete practice of purification. You see, so that's the reason. So in another word, we should understand from here is that when we want to negate any delusion, we have to make sure that you purify until that never can be returned. That is when you refer that to the practice of path and ground, then you see, is it Jolam or was it Parche Melam and Namdrolam. You see, so before getting into Parche Melam, first you accumulate all the conducive conditions in the post meditation, to make sure that your meditation going to be successful. So which is like understanding correctly the what exactly the emptiness is, you see, and how to conduct the meditation, how to progress from analytical meditation to the absorption meditation. You see, and need to learn about how to progress from path of preparation to the path of how to progress from the path of normal obstacle to the path of cessation. Parche melam to namdolam. You see, so once you equip all the conducive conditions, which is already kind of you are in the room. You already know where the switch to on. You see, and the electricity is intact. The wires are intact. And you know where to on it, like that. So then after that, then when you get into the parche melam, when you get into the path of path of no obstacle, which is parche melam, path of no obstacle. I think we can use that in this translation. Path of no obstacle. There is like you on the light. So the moment you on the light, there's no appearance or occurrence of the parche, which is the obstacle, which is the negation. There's no occurrence. The parche or the obstacle or the negation, which here we are talking about self-grasping ignorance, is already out from our system, because our system is now already occupied by the wisdom, the light. You see? So now the third one is you stay on light until the daylight comes, the unexhaustible daylight comes. So when you cross over the time of unexhaustible daylight comes, then you are like as equal as achieving the namdolam, the path of cessation, a path of cessation from the darkness, which is the state that particular darkness will never return back. You see, or that particular parche or the negation, the obstacle you just purify, will never return back to your system. You see, so when you apply antidote, you have to make sure that you reach to the state of namdolam. Of course, at this stage, we are not entering into the path yet, but we have to practice the similar way. And we may not able to purify the root cause of all the delusion, but at least the delusion has so many layers, so many degrees. At least the gross one, the first layer. When we purify the first layer, we do the similar technique, so that layer of the delusion will never occur back. You see, then that makes possibility for us to move forward to the next level. So that way that we, without wasting our time, we will be steadily can able to reach to the elimination, from the root of it is existent, like that. Then your leg of true truth. So the Yamantaka's two legs represent, the right leg represent conventional truth, left leg represent ultimate truth. They spread apart. Here, the meaning that we need to understand that, in order to take the purification most effectively, we need to have a genuine, understanding of the reality, the conventional truth, and genuine understanding of the ultimate truth. You see, by understanding the tarot, the detail of the conventional truth, which is understanding of which here meaning understand, they understand the absolute reality of samsara, understanding absolute entirety of the characteristic of karma, entirety of the characteristic of the delusion, entirety of the characteristic of the ignorant self-grasping, self-grasping attitude and self-cherishing attitude. So understanding, detail of its definition is understanding of conventional truth. So without understanding that, in another word, without understanding negation, as I mentioned before, no way we can able to purify them. So for that reason, that you need to apply the knowledge of understanding the true truth. So even in Oba Buddha Dharma, is a true truth is to be learned, then true path is to be adopted, applied, and true bodies of the Buddha is to be achieved. So similar way here, the conventional truth need to be understood. Conventional truth of the negation has to be understood correctly. You see, then also need to understand the ultimate truth, because the ultimate truth is the antidote. So if we don't know the correct understanding of the emptiness, we will not have the best antidote to apply to the false, the self-grasping ignorant. You see, so therefore we need to understand the emptiness exactly the Pasangika Madhyamika have introduced to us. The emptiness that was taught by Nagarjuna, the emptiness that was taught by Lama Tsongkhapa. When you refer to the Lama Tsongkhapas, even Lamrim, many of us very familiar with Lamrim. So when you refer to the last chapter, the wisdom chapter, then that is the correct emptiness understanding. You see, if you refer to the Shantideva's Buddhistacharya, the wisdom chapter, that is the emptiness that what we understand. If you refer to the fundamental wisdom of Nagarjuna, then the precious garland of Nagarjuna, and then entry to the Madhyamika by Chandrakirti. These are correct understanding of emptiness and according with the Buddha's intent. So we have to understand that. So when it comes to word, that wisdom is the wisdom that understanding things and events, self and others, and then all the self and aggregates, all lies in the nature of lacking of inherent existence, lacking of intrinsic existence, lacking of true existence. That is what it means, emptiness. That is the emptiness what all the earlier the reliable master have taught, which are the intent of the Buddha. You see, so in another word, if you use one word, and that emptiness is simply the wisdom that thoroughly understanding I and others, things and events exist interdependently, or exist interdependent in the nature of interdependent arising. Okay, so that is the emptiness what we mean. So you see, so if we understand that, we understand ultimate truth. So when we refer to the Yamantaka's, why the true leg is stretching like that, so we need to, the true leg represent the true truth, and the wisdom of that is very profound, very vast, So from the stretching of the leg that we understand all these meanings. Then the eyes of method and wisdom wide opened. So method is a bodhicitta. Wisdom is the emptiness, as mentioned before. So in order to make possible to eradicate the root cause of all the delusion, the self-grasping ignorance, then the wisdom eye has to be opened. But then that wisdom eye, that wisdom, or the effort of eliminating the negation of that wisdom, the grasping ignorant, to make that effort to be most worth one, not just slight worth, most worth one, most beneficial one, then that effort has to be cause of enlightenment, cause of benefit of numberless sentient beings. So in order to do that, then the eyes of the bodhicitta has to be open. You see, eyes of the bodhicitta has to be there. You see, so the wisdom has to be, in the simultaneous application of the practice of both the wisdom and the method. In that way, then the both path going to be altruistic path, and that altruistic path is the most beneficial path. most useful path, most worthful for us to practice it. You see, so this is also emphasizing the inseparable of the wisdom and method. The union of wisdom and method. In the tantric term, the two eyes symbolism of great bliss and emptiness. Great bliss and clear light. Great bliss and clear light. You see, so from the common path, then the method of bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. You see, so even you realize the true truth, if you don't apprehend the part of the method and wisdom, then our path cannot progress. So that's why, as mentioned before, Buddha have said that true truth be study, learn, and true path to be apply, adopt, travel. You see, so that's what it meant. Then with your fangs of the four power, so four power, the four opponent power, So, so how you utilize, all this amazing, paths, amazing knowledge of true truth, and including this unbelievable, most forceful antidote, Yamantaka, all these tools, how to take on to the actual, purification practice is through utilizing the four techniques of the open power to purify the karma. So, in other words, four opponent power. That is power of reliance, power of regret, or power of regret of the negativity, then power of antidote, and power of repentance. Okay. So with that, then without any doubt, will strike the weapon of antidote onto the enemy's, very stubborn heart, very stubborn head or heart, whatever it is. Yes. So we'll strike, we will strike the enemy, we'll surely will able to eliminate it, you see. So you see, so just the verse, this one verse is so advanced, This is just how to say, what do you call, tip of the iceberg. So this is the tips of the iceberg. Yes. So individually, I'm sure, individually, among the group here who's listening, you may be a great practitioner of Yamantaka. Now from these tips of iceberg, try to get to the bottoms of the iceberg of Yamantaka practice. But then you will be amazed. You will enjoy. You will feel wow. Yamantaka practice is not just like finish the daily sadhana commitment. It's much more than that. Not just reading. Much more than that. Doing Yamantaka retreat, not just to count the mantra and do the sadhana, not just that. Those are just a vehicle. The real practice is beneath each the steps of the practices. So like that. Okay. So now we move to verse 50, page 141. It says, the king of spell who confound the enemy's mind, summon this oath breaker who betrays self and others, this savage called self-grasping demon, who, while brandishing the weapons of karma, runs amok in the jungle of self-existence. The king of spell. Again, the spell, people may use, sometimes we use this is a spell magic, black magic as well. Is here not talking about that. The king of spell, again, can refer to the power of Yamantaka, power of the Yamantaka mantras, power of the Yamantaka's 4 activities that we have discussed before, or the power of here directly referring to the Yamantaka. In another word, the emptiness, manifested in the most wrathful way, which is so powerful that who confounded the enemy's mind, the enemies. What are the enemy's mind? The enemy is the self-centered grasping, self-ego-centered grasping, isn't it? And it is minds are like attachment, like ignorant, like aversion, like jealousy, like ego pride, like all these delusions are the enemy's mind. So this spell is this mantra, this practice of Yamantaka is so powerful that can smash away the enemies. Meaning smash away. Will directly open on. Will directly. The moment you start to practice that, the delusion start to terrify. Delusion start to leave our system. Someone with oathbreaker who betrays several others. Yes. I definitely have to. I'm definitely going to be serious about the Yamantaka practice. I'm definitely going to be serious about practice of emptiness. Oh no! I'm definitely from now on. My main focus is, meditation on emptiness. Main focus. Why? Because this self-grasping enemy or this self-grasping, self-centered ego, ignorant, and self-cherishing, delusion, been broke all my wills, who betrayed me, and who betrayed the rest of the others. What we want is happiness, but then as if we are so willingly to accumulate causes of suffering, and we engage all the time in negativities. And who make us do that? The self-grasping attitude and self-cherishing attitude. You see, so therefore, what we want from depth of our heart, is totally make us do opposite way. So this is how that it betrayed, betray us and betray others. You see, all the sufferings of samsara comes from harming others. Suffering that what we receive from, environmental disturbances, suffering from emotion, suffering from every aspect, is all are coming from causing harm to other sentient being. And who is the player? Who is the main player of that? Who is the main creator of that action? Is self-cherishing attitude. And who is the main player behind self-cherishing attitude? Self-grasping, egocentric, ignorant. You see? So therefore, I have to use the most powerful antidote to purify, most powerful spell, the king of spell, to eradicate them, without delay even a moment. Okay, so, and anyway, in the third line is already said who that is. This savage called self-grasping demon. Oh, that is the one, you see, who while brandishing the weapon of karma, and run among in the jungle of silent existence, you see, who make us, continue to commit negative karma, which will totally give us the opposite result that what we genuinely aspire for, and that make us, roam. I say that make us uncontrollably, cycle in a cyclic existence for eons and eons, and that has happened up to this life. And if we don't, overcome the self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude by now, then our future life, for many eons of lifetime, that we will have to suffer the same way. Verse 51, summon him, wrathful Yamantaka, strike him, pierce the heart of this enemy, the self, dance and tremble on the head of this betrayer, false conception, or mortally strike at the heart of this butcher, the enemy, ego. We have to summon right away. The way to do that is application of antidote. The moment we apply the application of antidote, and that is what it means, summon. So if we apply antidote right now, then we mean it, summon him, summon right away. We talk about it, but we never meditate on emptiness. We never take serious about the practice. Then Yamantaka also, stay very lonely up there. You see, so we have to apply the practice immediately. You see, strike him. The strike. When you apply the antidote, then we'll strike. Will pierce the heart of the enemy, the self. The self will be, dismantled. The force of the self will be dismantled. You see, the self, the false self. We're not talking about the existence of the false, non-existent self. The grasping, in another word, that false self there's nothing to dismantle. Since it is non-existent, what come into fracture is the grasping onto the false I will be dismantled. You see. You see, the moment we start to analyze how this I exists, within aggregates, without aggregates, so when we start to use either these seven points technique to investigate the merely label I, or merely label the designated existence, or the 4-point analysis of emptiness, and from there, then the moment we start that, then the false grasping start to crack its strength, start to dismantle, start to fracture. At the same time, then you start to have a clearer about seeing the real self, genuinely, interdependently existent self. You see, so then that able to establish I exist but do not exist. That able to establish the existing I, at the same time, able to actualize the elimination of non-existent I. You see, so it helps to eradicate the two false and establish the Uma, the middle way establishment of the view of existence, which is the interdependent arising or interdependent existence. So now, an example here, as I mentioned earlier, end of each verse, the moment that it says, dance and tremble on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. Right there, we have to be very clear the characteristic of the negation. Very clear. Then the next step is to engage into the, if you can effort, directly observation meditation on emptiness. You do that for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, many hours, whatever you can effort. If those of individual who cannot go directly to the absorption meditation, then first few minutes you do analytical meditation. So when you do the analytical meditation, then you can apply like the 4-point analysis on emptiness. Like a 4-point analysis. The first one is identify the negation. Which is self is this one. Then after that, you establish the basis where you're going to search that false I. You learn about the false I, but you want to witness by yourself legitimately. That's why you need to apply this technique. You need to search. You need to do the analytical meditation. So the basis to search the I is within aggregates and without aggregates, isn't it? There's nowhere else. Every single existing compound within the aggregates and without the aggregates. So then the third one is then now first you check within the aggregates, and most likely you may take more time to discover the I do not exist in the mental aggregates, because many, even the great philosophers, they stuck. They can able to overcome the existence of I in the physical existence, like a Mainoli school, like Chittamatra, they are very clear about I existing in the material, in the external phenomena, in external aggregates, you see. But unfortunately, but then they establish the I existing in the mind, but they establish I existing in the true existent mind. You see, such kind of faults can occur. Or in worse than that, there are philosophers and ordinary beings that they establish I, the mind as the I, consciousness the I. Give an example, the consciousness. Where's the I? Prove to me. You say my mind, my consciousness. And some philosophers, they try to be more profound. They cannot take whole mind, and they try to use a 7 mind. There are one particular mind that which store the imprints of all the past memories and past actions, and which has the capability to carry the continuum from the past, present, future. You see, and they regard that as a self. You see, so all a mistake. You see, all a mistake. So you see, so now you search whether I exist on the physical form or not, whether I exist on the compositional form or not, whether I exist on the mental form or not, mental aggregate or not, So you see, so if it exists on the physical form, then in physical form there are so many atoms, so many cells. Then you will be many. If you want to say all, then there's a blood there, there's a bone there, etc., etc., etc. So you need to define by many different these elements. If you need to define by many these elements, then you also need to say that you exist in the mental aggregates. Then you see. So then in that case you may exist in every single 5 aggregates. So in that sense, it has to be definite to exist, the living being within the 5 aggregates. If that's so, then in the formless realm, there's no form aggregates. So then that means you disappear. If you happen to take rebirth in the formless realm, then you disappear. No, isn't it? You see. So now, even in the mind, if you regard that you exist in the mind mental aggregates, then mental aggregates got a virtuous mind, negative mind, neutral mind. Then which one is you? All these three emotions are clash to each other by its nature. Virtue, non-virtue, they are not same entity. They're all a different entity. You see. So how to be one? So either you have to agree that I'm virtuous one, I'm not the non-virtuous one. If you want to say that you are the non-virtuous one, you have to say the not virtuous one. So you see, you have to use a logical reasoning, then you convince that you do not exist at all within the aggregates. So now you may aggregates without the aggregates. So without the aggregates, then is your cup, is you, is your book, is you, is your tablet, is yours, you, is the wind, is you. Then like there are so many treaties, like Nagarjuna's Precious Garland, Nagarjuna's Fundamental Treaty, emphasize verse by verse, talking about, you are not aggregates, you are not the elements, one by one, you see. So you can refer to those texts and those wording, so give you a great wisdom to utilize for your analytical, capability to figure to find out that I do not exist at all in anything. Even in the nominee of on the substantial form, even in the slightest substantial form, not at all. You see. So therefore, I only exist merely interdependent on the labeling of the mind. You see. So I exist only in the label. You see. So so we have to do such analytical meditation. You see. So the 7th point is like Chandrakirti given an example in the entry to the Madhyamika, use the example of carriage. Carriage is you're able to designate carriage because of the different particles, wheel, etc. Then become carriage. When the wheel and the rest of the part you separate, carriage disappear. That wheel is not a carriage. Like that. So similar way, you use that technique to your own self. You see, you are merely labeled on the correct basis of the aggregates, which has its own characteristic. Like we carry the human aggregates, and on the basis of that, then we designate as a human creature. Then that human creature, designated as designated by the name only, like Zopa. But that Zopa, when you go to figure it out by one, cannot find on the limbs and on the organs or on the different aggregates, and also cannot find other than that, outside of that. You see. So the 4-point analytical emptiness meditation and 7-point the emptiness meditation is the meaning is similar. So you can use those understandings to do some time of analytical meditation. Then from the analytical meditation, when you achieve, I see, like that, okay, now I understood, I see, there's a conviction that you come to a conclusion that I really do not exist at all, inherently, truly, substantially. I is simply merely labeled by mind. You see. So once that confirmation comes in your understanding, that you want to interpret into a word is a voidness. The understanding of voidness. If you want to check it out, how the feeling when you have this kind of conclusion, this kind of result after your meditation, is sense of uplifting, sense of relief from suffocation, of grasping, sense of freedom, sense of spaceful, like that. You see, so you feel like a voidness, but at the same time you feel goodness, like blissfulness. That conviction, that feeling, that understanding is called the wisdom of analysis. Now that wisdom is going to be your object of your absorption meditation. Now during absorption meditation, you don't analyze it. So you simply, placing your entirety of concentration on that union of voidness and bliss, and remaining in that for 5 minutes, for 1 hour, for 2 hours, as much as you can. And this is the only pathway to have direct realization, spontaneous realization of emptiness. There's no other pathway. This is the only pathway. through the observation meditation is the only pathway to gain direct realization of emptiness. Like that. Okay, so I stop here and try your best to do meditation. Okay, try best. So this is very important. We can almost say that this is the conclusion of whatever we have discussed for many sessions in the past, and it is also the overview or the summary or the conclusion of what we're going to discuss in coming verses. So now we take a moment to dedicate the merit. So without any doubt that accumulated extensive merit, and particularly we get opportunity to discuss on emptiness. Even to say just one single word, pronounce emptiness, like in the scripture is stated that it shattered the whole power of the samsara, the grasping, the ignorant, see the delusions. And not only that, we have started this session with altruistic motivation. Then individually, you always accumulate so much merit. Then all the merit that accumulated by past, present, future Buddhas, Gurus, all this quality merit be a complete cause for numberless sentient beings to be free from oceans of samsaric suffering. It is causes delusion, karma, and actualize from temporary happiness after the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. May this quality merit be a complete cause for this pandemic in this world and all the natural disasters to be overcome as soon as is possible, and whatever cure antidotes to be effective and actualized as soon as is possible. May this quality merit be complete cause for all the good people in this world, like His Son Dalai Lama, and all the gurus, and yourself and your family members and all the other good people to always enjoy perfect health, long life, and fulfill all your aspirations accordingly. May this quality merit be complete cause for all the world leaders and the leaders of organizations, leaders of the family, and yourself who leads your life, always equipped with loving kindness, compassion, understanding, and the wisdom of selfless. So that anyone under their leadership can able to enjoy only virtues and happiness and peace. May this quality merit be a complete cause for anyone that who have requested prayers from me. Like Dr. Lee, Caroline, Julie Kwan, Wong Chun-ru, Chris Price, David and Ochimbat, Tony Misaha, Sister Kwan, etc., and those other Sikh people that who not necessary to mention the name, but they requested prayers, and all the name that given to Jabja Lama Suvarabhuchi to pray, and the people requested your prayers, and also we have heard from the news, people and animals, anyone who is suffering from natural disaster, from sicknesses, and in our day-to-day life, if we have witnessed sick people, sick animals, sick insects, like in your kitchen, in your garden, etc. May they overcome all their difficulties, adversities, and sufferings, and actualize only virtues, happiness, meaning of life, good health, long life, virtues, and fulfill all their aspirations according. May this quality merit be a complete cause for anyone who died in the past or right now, or especially those who pass away within the last 49 days, like Kenneth, Annie Jat Lord, Thomas Chong Sen Chong, Andre Henchos, Tante Chan, Gerda, Yo Chung Kwan, so all and all the others who pass away, free from the hallucination or suffering at the time of death and the intermediate state and the rebirth, actualize higher rebirth where they meet perfect Maya and Guru, and actualize state of full enlightenment within that very lifetime. May this collective merit be complete cause for all the virtuous institutions like three great monasteries, Tantric College, and all the other Dharma institutions, and all the FPMD centers and projects and study groups, and especially this teaching is organized and requested by FPMD Australia, all the FPMD centers and FPMD National Office. Yeah, the FPMD National Office and who encourage and request to do this series of Lojong teaching. So therefore, we have a special karma, special meritorious karmic connection in relation to that. So whatever merit we accumulate to dedicate to purify all the inner, outer, secret obstacle in all the centers and the office, and actualize all the conducive conditions in all the centers and the office, and so that able to preserve the Dharma perfectly in extensive learning and extensive practices. And according with the Buddha, according with the aspirations of Guru, like Lama Yeshe and Gyabje Lama Sobarimpoche, and be most beneficial for the well-being of numberless sentient beings, starting from the center members and students, like that. Then may this collective merit become the cause for each and every one of us. What we have discussed in the teaching, may we be able to have all the merits and karma, meritorious karma to, those who have not taken Yamantaka practice, may be able to have all the conducive conditions to have complete Yamantaka practices. And those who have not studied the emptiness may have all the conducive conditions to study emptiness. And those who have met the emptiness dharma but not have actualized realization, may this merit become the cause for each and every one of us to actualize direct realization in emptiness in the most simplest way, in particular in relation to Tantra, like Yamantaka practice, and able to eradicate, entire adversities, especially the root, by the root, including the root cause, the self-grasping, self-chiding attitude, and may be able to achieve the true path and progress in the true path in most swift way, and actualize state of the full enlightenment, where we can able to benefit extensively, effectively, and accordingly with the mental disposition of numberless sentient beings. Chanjo semjoren boje maje banam jeju jewanya mame bayang gone gondo pewajo doni daware boje maje banam jeju jewanya mame bayang gone gondo pewajo mi daware boje maje banam jeju jewanya mame ba gone gondo pewara jo jewade nyudo dalama sanje to bene do waji nyamale bade sala go bara sho karira be ko be singa de penande wa male jo Chereze wanted the Jato Yabese Bado Teju, Tozo Shaje Jango Jave, the Jobe Kozo Dobo, Chosoko element, Roba Daso, the Chekondo Shade Pama, Zetam Jeta, using a lot of Jetato, the Janjo Sambakana Sujo, but the Dagonia Molam to Jamaica, which is Tajan Badapudo, somebody had this in the Dagonia to Daloji Jawa, the Tatam Jerato, the Soja Jawa, Tamjet, Mowakana Chudumaba. Daji Jave, our Degonja, Sambo, variety, Simjaneba, Bedan, so amigation of the Simjera, Samba Jajin, Daji, Mondele, Sendele, Nimebo, and the legend in Zetato, Dele, Kojo, Tashi. Okay, thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Take care of each other. Take care. Bye bye.